Hello everyone, this is the Vampire here, and today I'm here to bring you a tutorial on how to properly configure and use Dxtory or Dxtory or however you want to pronounce it. So without further ado, let's begin. Also, pardon me, but I'm a little bit sick, so yeah, I might cough a few times, but I'll try not to. So let's get straight into the program. First of all, we need to configure the program to use the perfect settings, basically the settings that are the most common and the most used for everyone. So we're going to jump straight over, or actually let's take it tab by tab. The first tab is the ignore settings. Let's say, for instance, if you want to stream using Dxtory and OBS or similar programs, pardon me, you will want to add these programs to the ignore list, so Dxtory doesn't recognize the video output from these programs, so you won't have any interference. Second one is the video FPS, pretty self-explanatory, you can mess with that. The first one that we're interested in is the folder tab. This is where we're going to save all of our recordings. So first of all, what you need to do is to add a folder. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to use my RAID array right here in my D drive, and if you want to see the speed you're outputting, basically, you can hit benchmark, just use the default size and hit run, and you will see the let's say the maximum speed that you can achieve with your card or your hard disk drive or RAID array or whatever, right? And depending on what resolution and FPS you're recording, the write speed will impact the let's say the performance of the recording. Basically, we'll get to that in a minute. The next one is next tab is the hotkey tab, and here you will input all of your hotkeys that you want to use for starting and stopping the movie, using push to talk, screenshots, whatever. Now this is the first tab that we're interested in. This is the video tab, if I'm not mistaken, the movie tab, sorry. Here are the settings that we are going to use and what I recommend. First of all, the codec. Dxtory video codec is actually decent enough, but we have something even better that uses less CPU and offers the same amount of quality for basically lower bitrate. Which that means, or that translates in less space occupied on the disk and the lesser need for a higher write speed on hard disk drive. So we're going to use X264 VFW, which stands for Video for Windows. I will add a link to download this codec in the description of the video. And now let's go straight into the config. First of all, you will want to select the ultra fast preset because we're going to record in single pass lossless mode, so you don't gain anything by changing the basically the the encode calculations, because there's no encoding being actually done because it's lossless, as it says. Tuning, we're not going to focus on that, just leave it at none. Now, the profile. Here's the thing. Most people, and for most games, just selecting a high or auto profile, auto level, and using convert to YUV, sorry, 420, will render you basically 99% of the quality compared to the highest setting. So, in general, if you're low on space and you don't have quite the best PC, I would definitely recommend these settings that you see right now. Take a screenshot, stop the video, look at them, and configure your X264 codec settings exactly like here, because you will not see much difference. But if you have the horsepower, the computer power, whatever you want to say it, for the maximum quality, I suggest using a high 444 profile The level you can either set it at auto or at 5.2, doesn't really matter. It will automatically select depending on your resolution, and yeah, I think it's just the resolution. It will select your level, but you can put it at maximum if you want, doesn't really matter. And you would want to select keep accept only RGB. This is the maximum quality that you can achieve by using these settings, but as I said, they are mostly useless. Basically, there are, let's say, the time that this would be best used if you is like you have a perfect machine, like double SLI or triple SLI cards at 1080p, everything maxed out to the utmost single detail possible. Yeah, maybe then it would be somewhat useful, but in any case, if you plan later to upload to YouTube, let's say for instance your video, basically all your hard work recording and encoding the video will be lost. So unless you are distributing the video in another platform or on some other manner like SDA recordings and such, I would not recommend using that one just for YouTube. Okay, so these are the settings. This is what you want to use right here. The settings here, as I said again, just pause the video and look at them. Okay, then the frame rate. I generally recommend to go with the how should I put it? Either the max frame rate of the game itself, the max frame rate that it can output, or in general just leave it at 30 FPS. Believe me, it's very smooth. If you can push it at 60, that would be amazing. It would be even better, but 30 is very, very acceptable. Or for instance, some games like Vice City, or I think San Andreas also, and a couple of other games, only run at 25 FPS when using the VSync option with VSync enabled. If you have that lower FPS, then you should type in and select 25 FPS, because recording that amount means you have a lot of doubled frames, basically extra frames that are not used for anything, they're doubles. So that's more space, and you might run into problems later potentially with the encode. So generally, either leave it at 30, go to 60 if you have the power, or use anything lower if the game runs at lower FPS natively. Then you will want to select a file output, and then file format AVI. Now there is an option here called raw cap. This is used basically like this. If you don't have, like me, a RAID array composed of 2 disks or more, you can select multiple folders in here, or let's say multiple folders and multiple drives. Let me put it like that. So let's say you have 3 drives, right? And you don't have a RAID array. Well, you can include all of the drives right here and select them and check them, and then record with the raw cap mode. This will basically record the video, basically like it would be a RAID array, you know, just writing to one disk, then another, then repeating another and another and another and repeating. So you can achieve the higher speed without actually, you know, as I said, RAIDing together a card or adding an SSD to the recording or whatever, as I said. So if this option is what you require, then it's there. And later you can use this program, the raw cap converter, add your files here, and then just clump them up together to an AVI file, and then store it on whatever drives fits it. Then the other options that we have here is clipping. Let's say, for instance, if you have a old monitor, some games actually record the black bars from up top and down below. Actually, I've seen this in a oh my god, in the tech forum on the tech topics, right, on SDA, basically, where someone recording a Splinter Cell, the latest one, whatever it's called, I don't know. And he recorded with the black bars even though his resolution was set correctly. So if you have this issue, you can select clipping, and then, you know, choose your height and your width and your whatever. Or you can select the margin, basically. Just basically you should probably not select this and just, you know, crop the video later in the encoding process. That's what I recommend. Then we have here synchronized video FPS and includes mouse cursor. Include mouse cursor is pretty self-explanatory. Then the second one is synchronized video FPS, and as like the description says, synchronized video FPS, let me put that again, with the frame rate of the capture. Video frame rate may stabilize if the video FPS is synchronized. Basically what it does, let's say your game for instance runs at 60 FPS, let's say, and you want to record at 30, well, you can record at 30 and it logs the FPS at that specific FPS that you put right here on top. In some games this can slow down the game, or it can just lower the FPS and put it constantly at 30 or whatever you choose. If that's something that you need to use, then use it. Then the scaling, you can either select percentage or size. Let's say for instance I record a game, I play a game at 1080p, but I only want to record it at half that resolution, so I will select 50 FPS, or I don't know, 66 FPS, or FPS, sorry, percentage, I want to say percent. Or you can select the resolution, the size of the video that you want to record. So as I said, maybe I'm playing at 1080p, but I only want to record the video at 720p. Maybe again, as I said, for size reasons, for I don't know, whatever reason you want. Just you can select the size, but I generally recommend to just record it at whatever the screen resolution is. Then the next tab is the audio tab. Here you will want to select your device, your audio device that you will use to record. Select PCM, which is wave, basically, lossless encoding, audio encoding, and generally 48 megahertz should be good, or 48,000 hertz, or whatever. At 16-bit stereo is pretty good. But if you want to record 5.1 audio, then you would want to select IEEE float, which is another type of wave lossless encoding, and select whichever fits the bill. Again, as I said, probably 4800 at how many channels you have. But PCM stereo is pretty good. And also, if you want to also record the microphone at the same time, then you can add another audio channel right here. Select a push to talk if you want to have a push to talk key. If not, it will just record continuously. And then select your microphone at whatever volume you want. And you can also add that sorry, into the recording. If I'm not mistaken, this will be, as it says here, a different audio stream. So for instance, when you go in your video player, it will not play both of the files at the same time, but later in encoding you can extract the audio streams and then combine them together with a program like Audacity, or I don't know, whatever you want, just, you know. Okay, the next tab is screenshot, doesn't matter. And then we go to the settings tab. Now here what I generally recommend is use how many processing threads you have. Some say they record better with just one thread out of how many they have. Some say it's better with all of them. I generally use all the threads I have. That works for me, basically. So test around, do whatever you want. Now here is another option that I like to use sometimes. Let's say for instance I had this problem in Just Cause 2. I was recording at 30 FPS, I was playing at about 90 FPS. But every time I was starting the recording, it would record the video at somewhere between 20 and 30 FPS. It was never at 30 FPS constant. But my game FPS was always higher than 30 FPS. So when this problem happens, you would want to select Enable Synchronous Surface Lock. As it says here, memory data transmission is performed immediately, although video FPS may be down because by that cause, frame drop decreases. And yes, it does. It doesn't drop any frames after that, or maybe one frame, you know, max. So if you are recording, you have a higher FPS than whatever you want to record, but the recording is not happening at whatever FPS you set, then you want to enable synchronous surface lock option right here, which I generally use even if I don't have this issue. It's like for my peace of mind, so whatever happens, happens, or doesn't happen in this case. So, sorry. So yeah, that's about it for Dxtory and for this tutorial. I will also prepare another tutorial for another time on how to live stream with Dxtory, because using Dxtory, let me just add this at the end. Basically, the video is done. If you want, you can leave it, that's all. But this is the a little added bonus, an extra. If you want, you can actually live stream using Dxtory. And why would you want to use that? Well, basically you can direct show output and file record at the same time without actually losing any performance, basically any extra performance. Because here's the thing, if you were using Dxtory to record your video and at the same time using a program like OBS to screen capture, then Dxtory uses your CPU and some GPU to record the screen, and then OBS uses another part of your GPU and CPU. So you have all this extra useless usage. So you can actually record the screen with Dxtory and at the same time output to a program like OBS or XSplit or whatever. And this will greatly reduce your CPU usage in particular. So you can achieve higher FPS in your games in general. Yeah, but as I said, that will be another tutorial for another time. So thanks again for watching and see you next time. Goodbye and thank you.